Good morning. Good morning. Truth Disclosure 369 in the house once again. Um, didn't know if I was gonna get back on here today, but I just some things um, I wanted to go over. So I decided, what the hell, get back on here and just share some things again. Greet everybody in the universal words of peace. Hopefully everyone is doing well. Hopefully everybody is staying above the madness in this Twilight Zone era. Um, Hopefully each and every one is enjoying the security and safety and good health and prosperity. We know that these things are some of the most uh, difficult things to overcome in some aspects in my life, and I know plenty other people can and experience have experiences in all those. But hopefully, um, that which one desires, that which one wants, that idea of peace will permeate and create the reality that is needed for many. Because the reality we're in now is one totally crashing. And like I said, the writing's on the wall. But I'm on here today. It's the 14th. Tomorrow is tax day. So everybody get your taxes in. I just had to say something about this again because I'm always gonna say something about this shit. How these folks are sitting up here acting like everything is all willy-nilly. You got folks out here still waiting on they tax returns. Some of them have already been processed. You know, how do? You can, people can have an argument and say, why are certain people getting their shit? I got tax returns that stretch back 2 3 years that been processed and still haven't got it, but yet somebody filed their taxes for last year, earlier this year, and they got their stuff now. It's crazy. It's all type of shit. But those that got their stuff, I'm thankful that y'all got y'all stuff, and I'm grateful that y'all were able to get y'all stuff. Um, but just know that there are people who still waiting, still ain't got their tax, and not no bullshit. People who really need their fucking tax money and all this shit, and the IRS, you don't hear shit. This is what you'll hear. I'm about to go to it. And this is sad because it just shows you so this is from yesterday, the 13th. 2,121,908. Wait, no, what is that? 2,121,987,000,000. Wow. This, you can mess something up just by skipping a comma of forgetting a zero. $2 billion. Federal tax collection set record through March. But they'll throw this up here like that's such a winning moment. Like this is what tax, paying your taxes and all this do. We can go ahead and do this. Let's see what it says right here. Prior to this year, the most taxes the federal government ever collected in the first 6 months of a fiscal year was in fiscal 2021, when the Treasury collected 1 billion, almost 2 billion in taxes in constant March 22 dollars. And they show all these numbers and all these big, I don't really give a fuck about all the numbers. I mean, people like to listen to that shit, and I'm not really into that. You got some people who is into explaining the graphs and the diagrams and the flow charts and the bar graphs, the line graphs, and all this stuff. I'm not really into that. With me, it's all about, is the shit genuine? Is there truth behind it? Is there fairness behind it? Is there equity and empathy behind it? If not, It don't matter how many numbers and how many graphs and how many pictographs motherfuckers put up to try and explain shit. It's always going to be tainted. And people know that the IRS is corrupt, is a corrupt institution from the get-go anyway. It was conceived in secrecy and deception. So you know, how can you even trust something like that when it was brought into existence out of circumstances like that? But they get hooped high and talking about 2 billion federal tax collections, set records, and all this shit. But yet, what about the records of y'all owing people? And instead of them talking about that shit, instead of them really reflecting on how many people are waiting on refunds and how many people are still, this is what they're really talk about. And of course, the Democrats want to front and act like they really give a fuck about this shit. Bloomberg reports that this is also from yesterday. Democrats asked the IRS why tax audits for the poor have doubled. Of course, they're gonna double for the poor. Stop acting like y'all been screaming shit like this for how many years? Ain't nothing really significantly has changed. The same doctrines are doing the same thing they did 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And of course they're gonna audit the people who don't have shit, because the people who don't got shit are the ones that's helping pay these motherfuckers. You really think these motherfuckers, Democrats or Republicans that talk shit like this, really want the top earners in the country or the top stealers in the country that amass a lot of wealth? Do you really? And they're throwing money at their campaigns, at their in the lobbying and paying them and their families, keeping their families fed and in $1 million houses, and everything is straight and nowhere in the world. You really think they want to stop that shit? You really think they want to cut the head off any type of progress when it comes to that? No, they're not trying to do that shit. They don't give a fuck about poor people getting tax audited. No matter how much that Elizabeth Warren talks that bullshit, she's just as corrupt, shady as fuck, a liar and a hypocrite. Do you really think they want to stop that shit? No. They talk this shit all the time. And of course, yes, the IRS will audit and talk all this shit to people who barely making it, who's struggling, and then the sad part about it, these people are paying their taxes. Even though they're struggling, of course, there are some that don't give a fuck, but then you got some that's, even though they struggling, they still trying to do what these folks tell them to do, and they still get fucked over. So how do you continue to do that? This is what they're really talking about. They don't want to talk about, they don't even want to talk about the fact that they owe people. Oh, wrong one. Let me get out of there. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that shit. So, you know, it's funny how they keep putting that shit out there like that. And, you know, hold on 1 week. They keep bringing this shit up about unclaimed money. Okay, they keep bringing this shit up about unclaimed money. Okay, they got this, and in different states they'll bring different information up. This was in South Carolina. Here's how to claim, and they always say, but it's like these folks, and I'll tell you, these folks will sit up here and give people their money, the money that they haven't processed to people that's owed through all these filings and all this shit that people still waiting on. They'll sit up here and give that shit, put that shit back into some allocated to some shit that motherfuckers don't know what the fuck is the purpose for it. or claim that shit. You'll never see it again. All type of shit. Because it's a fucking corrupt organization. Anytime motherfuckers could sit up here and charge you interest and fees, but then won't even acknowledge that shit when they owe everybody that through the same process of filing and all this shit, they don't owe you. You're being kept from your money, and they won't even acknowledge that or reciprocate with some type of to show that, look, we fucked up, we bounced the ball. We want to get everybody right. We want to get all Americans right who pay that, who are good tax-paying citizens who keep. No, you won't get that shit. So, you know, they're doing all this shit, man. And it's fucking sad, you know, for them to sit up here and be talking all this shit about audits and all this stuff. Half of the shit is to keep people distracted from what these bums are continuing, what these fake ass leaders are continuing to do. You know, they'd rather do that, but you know, motherfucker been screaming about Trump's taxes the whole time, using that as a talking point. They never did do anything about it. They never, and they never will. I don't know why motherfuckers keep bringing that shit up. That was a talking point. That was part of the agenda, to keep motherfuckers arguing over shit that, to be honest, whether here or there, it don't fucking really matter. They don't give a fuck. As long as you do what you're supposed to do, don't worry about these folks up in these other positions and shit. But wanted to also go to unfortunate shit, but gotta go there because this is making the rounds, especially if you in from the Black community. Once again, dealing with you know, the madness of a police shooting. And you know, the crazy thing about it is I don't know, man. You know, it's like this stuff is getting to a point where it's almost predictable. And I hate to say it like that, but first of all, I have to send love and light to all affected in this shit, because like I said, truth is always going to be the first thing destroyed in any incident. One thing Black people got to understand too is that things that are associated in circumstances that are associated with the Black community also have a degree of distortion, also have a degree of deception in order to get certain to have certain responses. And it's almost like, man, it's every fucking couple months or whatever it has, and this is seem like this is what keeps happening. Like every couple months, there has to be some type of killing done by the police with the African American, as you know, a Black person. And Grand Rapids had the story here where young man was shot by police. So we'll go to the story. Grand Rapids police have released videos of the fatal police shooting of 26-year-old Patrick Lyoya, including one that shows the fatal shot. During a press conference at City Hall Wednesday afternoon, April 13th, Police Chief Eric Winstrom released videos from 4 different sources of the April 4th fatal police shooting of Lyoya. I'm not even going to show the video. I'm pretty sure people look at the video, they've seen it. Viewer discretion is advised on all of them, so they want to make sure they pound it in your head that it was violent. Anybody who dies violently from gunfire or, you know, knifing or anything is violent. And of course, it should be viewer discretion is advised. But you know, they go into this. You know, he was shot in the back of the head. And, you know, that infuriates people. You know, that gets to a point where people, you know, fuck that, you know, and then we go into this whole thing, man, about black and white again, and black folks are being murdered by police who don't want to try and utilize their role as a civil servant and trying to show proper training or treatment of individuals. And then this whole argument on both sides of the fence start up. Well, you got one person who wasn't obeying the law. He was suspicious. He tried to run. That what happened. Then you got the other side that'll say, no, that man could have did. He didn't have to shoot that man and all this other stuff. And it goes back and forth. All the meanwhile, these people who are sitting up here that's going to blast this out so that black people can fall into their emotions and stay stuck, and white folks can fall into their emotions and stay stuck, but all around the board, you know. But they won't. It even got Crump. What's his name? Crump. Benjamin Crump. Same dude that seen it pop up every time there's a killing or a murder of a black person by the police. This man automatically pops up. Like, is he the only attorney that's going that this is one of the guys that was involved with endorsing Black Lives Matter and all that shit. So it just, to me, it just seems like all this stuff, man. Unfortunate the circumstances that's happening, all this shit. They're using this shit, man. Every time they use this. And I'm gonna show you something. If it wasn't a problem, and I'm gonna go to this article because this, let me see. There was a guy, and I'm gonna try and find this article. If I can find it. Let me see. I think it was it Rochester? And people want to, let me see. You know what? I don't even think they got this article up anymore. And I'm gonna have to look into it. And this is, if they don't have it up, then that means they took it down for a specific reason. Uh, and there was a story a while back, and I'm gonna have to look into it. But there was a guy in upstate New York who was in police custody, and he was a white guy. The police tased him after the man had thrown a liquid on himself, whether it was hand sanitizer. He threw it all on his person, and I'm gonna have to find that video because I think that story, because I think they don't really want people knowing that the police, when they encounter other people and they kill them, for some reason they don't really want that to be in the news. They would rather have just the incidents between blacks and the police, which if people can't see by now, there's something wrong with that. It's wrong, period, what goes down, but there's also something wrong with why they only want certain shit to be seen. Because because it stirs up so much shit, they can confusion and shit, they can control how that storyline by the way they have it. But there was a guy, and I'm gonna end up finding that. He actually threw hand sanitizer on himself. And the police in that, I think it was Rochester, New York, it was one of them. I have to go back and try to find that video. But they knew that this man threw that shit on him, and they lit him up with tasers, and he immediately burst into flames. He died from his injuries. But you didn't hear that shit. You didn't hear none of that stuff. You didn't hear none of that stuff on mainstream news. Matter of fact, you don't hear police encountered white man. You don't hear that shit. People want to sit up here and want to pick and choose what the fuck they want to hear, but the shit they're putting out here is not to inform you about shit. It's to keep a motherfucker in this stagnated reality where what they tell us and how it went down and what was the purpose and whether it was good or bad, we got to roll with it. And if it happens on a daily basis, we're just used to the same storyline. There's nothing else that can be said. But this is sad, man, because from what the videos and everything showed, it shows a man who was asked to stay by the car because the police pulled over because the car had inappropriate tags on the car. I mean, and it's always like this. If we look back at a lot of the stuff that has transpired between the police and black men or women, and we look at some of the shit that they do once they make contact. The thing with me is, if you know that these police will kill you in an instant if you make any false moves or anything, why would people automatically just start running? Especially if you know you ain't got nothing, and this is stuff that a lot of us don't want to talk about. Why would you immediately just start running? You dealing with people you dealing with both sides are in a state of anxiety. They don't know what's gonna happen. And instead of trying to diffuse that shit, it just goes all the way to the worst. Why would you constantly run from the police unless there's something going on that illegal or whatever, or they claim to be illegal? Why? Knowing that this will bring, knowing that action automatically would bring a recourse that could end up in a person being killed. And then as soon as something like that happens, and then when it comes out, find out that, oh, the car was stolen or this was happening or that has happened. But a lot of times it's always the person was scared or they were running because they didn't know what they were scared for their life. But it seemed like, have you not been paying attention to what has been happening? If you ain't doing no wrong or whatever, and you ain't did shit, why the fuck would you be so fucking in fear of these folks? Hell, if they did something anyway and you not doing anything, there's so many cameras and shit out here, they're gonna get caught. But why try to run and then have these folks kill you? And then we have a big circus around these individuals' death. A lot of these folks don't give a damn about who passed away, who was killed by these police. They don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck about that shit. They just use it as talking points to keep motherfuckers stuck, man. And this is the part of the shit that I was saying a few weeks back, man. We a lot of the stuff we do it and we bring it upon ourselves. Now the video, the man runs, and everybody can see it on the video. This man runs, then he immediately tries to take my man's taser. And it's like, if you was in the position of the police and a guy, don't matter what color he is, and a guy is trying to run, and then he's trying to grab a taser off of you, you don't know what really going on. I mean, a lot of people have to understand, if you put yourself in other people's shoes sometimes, you know, it's unfortunate that a lot of this shit end up being that a lot of Black people are being killed but what is it about us? What is it about us that we can't that our interactions with the police? We know that the police automatically come from a point of dealing with Black communities. Many of them are not up to par on that. So my thing is, if you are fearful, if you're scared to work in communities that you're not able to use discernment and wisdom with the badge, then you shouldn't be a police officer, or you shouldn't be working you shouldn't be a police officer, period. Taking them in and putting them in a neighborhood that's suitable for them is like giving them an award for bullshit. No, police need to be able to interact with everybody. If you're scared to deal with Black people, you shouldn't be a police officer. If you're scared to deal with white people, you shouldn't be a police officer. If you're scared to deal with Native Americans or Mexicans or Latinos or however, you shouldn't be a fucking police officer. If every time a situation arises where the meet up with certain individuals, certain demographics, is always ends in death because of lack of training or lack of skills in dealing with different people from different backgrounds, you shouldn't even be in law enforcement, period. Because a lot of these people, and this is the truth, this is reality. A lot of these folks, they're suffering from egoic problems and all this shit. Just because they got badges, they don't mean shit. And they may have had issues in the past, may have been bullied or whatever. And this is their time to shine because they got a badge and a gun. And a lot of them are already dirty, hairy type. And then when you throw in the bag people that they may consider undesirable or have lack of respect for their humanity or their life, even if you're in the wrong, man, person supposed to go through the utmost scrutiny on how to deal with shit. Death and violence always should be the last thing, but it always ends up with encounters with us as Black people, always goes to the most tragic of it all. But there are also other issues that happen between policing, those that are policing, and other individuals or other demographics. And I got that example, which I'm gonna find that and put that out probably I'll probably come up with it and put it on there later. But they won't bring up nothing when it comes to the police taking the lives of other people, of other ethnic groups, of other you may hear a story here and there, but you would have thought that story in New York, they set the man up. I mean, the man did that shit. They looking dead at him, throw this stuff on him, and yet they still lit him up with knowing that these tasers. I'm pretty sure you got to be a dumb person, a dumb motherfucker, if you didn't think that shooting a taser which has electricity onto somebody that's got wet liquid and shit on them, what's it gonna cause them to catch on fire? You got to be a complete moron if you did. So these folks knew that shit, and if they didn't know that, they shouldn't have been in the police force in the first fucking place. But yeah, this guy burnt up. But you didn't hear that shit. You won't hear it. You won't hear none of that stuff. Anytime something happens pertaining to black people, it's like this is part of the shit that's helping to destroy this country. And it's pushing because people are starting to act like they don't have no accountability or responsibility for themselves and how to act out in public, you know, to a point where when police are involved, you know, people want to, like I said, they want to go to the first thing they know instead of just stopping and handling the situation with poise, with courage, and with wisdom. If you know you ain't doing shit, if you know there's no reason for you to be if you know you want to live to see your wives, your girlfriends, your kids, and all this stuff, and you're interacting with police who may be a bad police, maybe a good police. You never know. I'm not gonna put everything bad on the police. There's some out there who actually want to do their jobs and actually want to do that shit right and actually want to try and set a better example than so many of them have been setting. And there's a lot of fucking bad apples, just like in the black community. There's a lot of bad apples. There's a lot of, I live in the Detroit area. It's mostly black police officers. So, you know, and when shit be happening with, you know, a lot of times motherfuckers be like, you know, motherfuckers don't even acknowledge shit. It's kind of crazy because it seems like you got more black officers than you do white in the city, but you barely, there's times you do hear shit about police having a run-in, killing a suspect or whatever that may have been unjustly done. You barely hear it in the city. And I don't know. I hate when this shit happen because they use these narratives, they use these agendas for something totally different. They will run this shit down blacks people's throats, and this will be on the news for the next couple of days now. Of course, in Michigan, they gonna have it running. They have to keep everybody at odds. They have to keep everybody at odds. And unfortunately, people are dying, have been dying. People get caught up in their schemes to keep everybody at odds so that they can continue to mistreat everybody as a whole. You know, same size as fighting over who was just in shooting, or who was unjust in shooting. The same people, the same sides that are fighting back and forth are both being misused and abused by this power structure. Same power structure that could gloat about record-breaking tax returns, while yet they still owe people for for years ago in the tax. Makes no sense at all. But this thing with it's sad, as I said, and I don't know, man. It's fucked up because I always look at it like, why would you run? When you look at the video, why did you run? Why did you do that shit? Why? Why did you do that? Why did you run? Then somebody can say to the police, why didn't you just let them run and just call a chopper in and go after him? Why chase them and all this stuff? Yeah. It's almost like, damn, if you're a police, that's what you got to do. If you chase them, then they start trying to grab a gun or to grab a taser and you end up shooting, then this comes out. So they just let them run and get the chopper out. Now, if something happened while they on the run, they carjack somebody or whatever, because really don't nobody really know, man. A lot of these people, and I really don't know what the full detail is, but he got pulled over because there was something wrong with his license plate. It didn't match the vehicle. Just like in many other instances, there was an instance where the individual who was killed was doing something, either walked away or started fighting, or you know, trying to grab for weapons or whatever. I think one of the main ones that didn't go down like that was Minnesota, when that one guy was killed next to his girlfriend, who was legally owned a pistol, who wasn't reaching for no pistol, just happened to be in a car and got shot up in the car and killed. That was murder. That was straight up murder. And he was a black dude, Castillo. What's his name? Emilio Castillo, something like that. I know his last name was Castillo, but he was gunned down in that car. And he wasn't really doing anything. All he did was try to go for his license and all that shit, registration, all that shit, and the man got shot. But you have some other people who will break out, run, go jump in a car, pull off, speed off, try and run people over. Then when they get shot and they get killed, then this whole thing comes out, and then everybody, yeah, they shouldn't have killed them and all that. But what about the fact that he just tried to run people over, or she just tried to run people over and all that? So if you was a police, you'll sit there and just let that happen. No, a lot of black people need to get the fuck off that shit. If we in our own communities stop with the bullshit that we're doing and kind of check ourselves, which we don't want to do, it seems like a lot of us would rather have other people check us instead of checking our fucking self and what we do that could lead to a lot of this shit that's happening. We have to see that shit for what it is. But like I said, it's fucking sad. This guy here, Ben Crump, you know, however a person may see this man, to each their own, but I think he's a complete charlatan. This man is nothing but a tool, just like Al Sharpton. These folks don't give a fuck about that shit. You know how much money this man has made over, man? You taking up these cases. Like I said, this motherfucker here was one of the ones who, you know, endorsing and promoting that shit. Well, Black Lives Matter back when the George Floyd stuff was going down. You know, and it's just so ironic that every time an issue with black people and the police come out, this man is out in the front. Just like Fauci is out in the front with the pandemic. It's like this man is now the black community's go-to attorney when it comes to this shit. Like there ain't other capable attorneys to do that shit. Every now and then you find a few, but it's this same dude, Ben Crump. I don't trust him. I ain't got no respect for none of them. Because if you can't address certain issues, if you can't address what needs to be addressed from both standpoints, then you full of shit. You leading people astray. You're still leaving people to be in a state of denial, man. And that ain't cool. So I'm gonna leave that shit alone, because right now that's got a lot of people caught up while these folks continue to rob and steal from people. And I'm gonna go to this this article real quick. Sad, man. Like we get no fucking if you let the media do, we get no back. But it's other people that have been killed and are being killed by the police, but for some reason their stories are not blowed up in the media like anything dealing with black people. This is what I wanted to go to right here. Hold on 1 minute. And this is what I've been saying. A lot of people been saying this the whole time. Like the reason why a lot and Dianne Feinstein is now mentally unfit to serve, citing recent and you know, these folks need to cut this shit out, man. So this is a U.S. Senator, Dianne Feinstein. Look at her. That's her right there. Don't even, why in the fucking hell would people continue to allow people that if they was in our family, they would be sitting down, they would be retired. If these were our family members, we would have them somewhere where they need, because a lot of these people are beginning to, a lot of these older people that's in Congress and these people that's on that's on the Supreme Court, you know, it's all these folks have been in this shit for years, man. It's like, come on, get the fuck out of here. Why do people keep voting these old people back in? These are half of the reasons why a lot of the shit that's happening is because of these old people that been in Congress and been in been in the court systems and all this shit all these years, and they don't want shit to change. They still stuck on the same fucking way of doing shit, and it's no way it matches with today's relevance. And people see this shit. That's why a lot of people say we need to start having fucking term limits, age limits on shit. You know, how the hell can you have this many fucking old people in Congress debating and talking about how the fuck the citizens should live? Because they don't work for motherfuckers. You know, it was at one time it was that you vote for these people so that they because they work for you, and that's not the case. But why would you have people in here that's suffering from dementia? You know, they're starting to have the tics of dementia and all this shit. People see that shit in Biden ass. They don't want to call that shit out. They don't want to talk about it, but it's the reality of it. So how the fuck are they running anything? They can't even think for their fucking self. They gotta have people around them to do that shit for you. It's like, what's the purpose of voting for these clowns for, man? And people don't understand, man. These folks got to sit the fuck down. Period. There's no way that these older people, all these old folks that's in Congress, all this shit, Congress is bullshit anyway, because they keep doing a lot of deceptive and corrupt shit right in front of everybody's eyes. But to even have these old folks, Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, from both sides of the aisle, you got all these old people that need to sit the hell down, man. Why are they still in fucking in positions like these? 80 in their mid 70s and 80s, still doing this shit, and then everybody want to sit back, and when they see these folks looking like they doing the same stuff that a person's relative or family member who's of their age that may be declining due to some health issues or mental or cognitive abilities, doing the same stuff. But when it comes to them, they're different because they're part of the fucking American Congress. This stuff doesn't, you know, their age, none of that makes a difference. They're still able to do their job. But you're looking at the people in your own family, in your own unit, people you know who are maybe the same age, and they suffering from the same shit. And you see people moving to try and get them help, moving, trying to, you know, create an environment for them where they can be comfortable and this, that, and the third, however it may be done. But you got all these people in Congress like this. And people seem to act like there's no problem with that. Now this woman is 88. What the hell is she even doing in Congress anyway? And it's this shit like this that, you know, one of the reasons why I can't get shit done. They would sit up here and continue to implement shit that motherfuckers been going. These folks been in Congress for 30, 40, 50 years and all this shit, still living, still trying to do the same shit, still trying to promote policies and bullshit that was done in the 70s and 60s and shit, 50s. They just don't want to, people don't want to give it up. And people who voting, for some reason, they can't understand. I don't know what it is, man. But it's like this whole fucking system, man. And I've been said it. This whole system has to be revamped, retooled. It's almost like everybody got to be retarded. But I just want to go on that because this is what's going on all across the board in Congress. These old people sitting up, Senator Grassley, all these old people that's in their 70s on up. Why are they there? What are they doing? It's bad enough that the young ones in there, middle-aged ones, what the fuck are they doing? But god damn, you know these folks ain't supposed to be in there. But I just wanted to share that. And by the way, Feinstein, I believe, is California senator. And I wanted to go to one more thing because, you know, these liars and let's go to Ukraine. I just want to say, because this is another thing why we can't get shit done. Why motherfuckers wondering why everything is falling apart around them, or why people are going through the shit they're going through financially and all this other stuff. At the same time, you got the tax collecting service owing people, and it's all good. Sad, but U.S. to send, and this is, I think this political article came out on, okay, on the 12th, a couple of days ago. Why the hell do these folks keep sending money and aid and shit over to Ukraine? Like, this country is the only country that's capable of doing things. They got other countries that's supposedly over there doing shit. So these folks will continue to send millions of dollars, and you know, billions to millions of dollars, and you know, 14 billion is the overall thing. 14 billion in Ukraine aid, 2.4 billion in military assistance. See, people gotta understand and look at shit like this. Why would you keep doing this shit? If you want to help, okay, why would you help to a point where you're overshadowing your own company, your own countries? Well, they run this country like a company. That's basically what it is. Company, the company is the corporation of the United States. But why would you continue to send money and away out of the hands of people who really need it over here, or projects that really need funding, like infrastructure and all that shit, and blight in a lot of the areas where you got raggedy shit just sitting up for no reason. Like, who owns that? Why is that shit still sitting there? Why has it been torn down? Why this, that, and third? And different way, you know, the upgrades on the water systems and the electrical grids and all that. Why would you keep sending this much money over the different areas? And not just Ukraine, but this is the shit that they keep doing. And for some reason, folks think that this shit's supposed to add up. You know, this is your tax money. This is tax money. The same shit people want to bitch and whine about, talking about, I don't want my tax money going on people who being incarcerated. Just kill them out in the street and be over with it. But yet you'll let your tax money go to shit that you don't even know nothing about in other countries. And they'll tell you that we're sending money over here for this and that and the third, while people people are starving. People, this country here, we know what's going on with inflation. Ain't nobody fucking stupid. A lot of people are ignorant to what inflation means, and to a lot of the things that are transpiring at the moment. You still have an active, fucked up situation in our reality, and dealing with finances, dealing with all that shit, man. Hell, the damn supply chain is still fucked up. But how do you send that much money constantly to and then, you know, the sad thing about it, these folks ain't doing shit but printing money out of nowhere. Nothing to back it up. Then wonder why the dollar is falling. 14 billion in Ukraine aid. The country falling apart. People being pushed. What kind of fucking shit? And then people sit up here and look at whoever this person is standing behind that podium, whether it be this clone here or it be another motherfucker. Don't matter, black, white, who Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter, that sit here and think this shit is for something. No. Why do people why do people continue to see it that way? I have no idea. But hopefully the truth will come. This is hopefully the truth. Let's see. Let me pull this one up. Let me see. So there's a lot of stuff. They keeping the news feed open. They keeping all this stuff going, man. They're doing it. They are doing it. Let's see, U.S. Okay. You know, you got so many people who that's why I try and learn the most I can dealing in financial fields. Not no experienced, skilled person in that, but you know what makes sense and what doesn't. But you know, the dollar is the global reserve currency. I mean, ever since this shit with Russia and Ukraine started off, this has been the main thing. But the dollar is already in danger. Anytime these folks don't have no solid material like gold or silver to back up currency, they just punch numbers into a machine and give it a value, and then print money and say this is the value of it and throw it out here. When the shit, when all the debts and everything come back, there's nothing to repay that shit with, because you know that was fiat money, currency, nothing that had nothing backing it up. All back in the day, that's all it was. So gold and silver. Everything, even financial transactions, the old banking systems, when that shit first started, man, it was always you came in with some gold or some silver, and they gave you a ticket, and that ticket actually was your representation of having that shit. Right now, there's none of that. They can lie and say all they want to. I don't even believe these folks got gold in a lot of these places they claim that shit is in, because they never have audits. They never do that shit. They never have it transparent for the public. But yeah, why would a government continue to throw money at other places outside of the place that constantly needs it? There's no problem with giving a little money here, a little money there, but why would you give overwhelmingly large sums of fucking money that could be building shit and keeping shit maintained here that's falling apart around everybody, and you constantly throwing that shit to other places? Like, we don't give a fuck about what's going on with, and sad thing about it, people in their silly minds think that what they're doing is it's the right thing to do. Everybody's getting hit by this inflation, except for those who are a little more well off. If you in the bottom tier bracket or in the middle class, which don't really exist anymore, everybody got to cut back. Folks want to act like shit is still normal, or shit is moving back to some normalcy. No. You know, you got what, everything is fucking up. How do you see that shit go up and these motherfuckers still sending money everywhere else in the world while their citizens is going through the back end? And most of them ones, you know, it has to do with a lot of people being self-centered, only thinking about themselves and their family or this and that too. Some people may be on a racial line. They don't give a fuck what's happening to certain people because they feel like the majority of them are of a certain demographic. So maybe that's the survival of the fittest. That's how they look at shit, and vice versa. But it's wrong, regardless, period. These folks are fucking everybody over, and people continue to ride shotgun in a car where the fucking driver about to crash your ass into a fucking wall. And so, you know, this is one of the main things is the dollar in danger. There's been a lot of speculation on that shit. The stock market has been fucking up. I know I dabble in it a little bit. You know, my pops have stuff in it. And it's almost like if you got to pay attention to it on a regular, because it's money that's being lost. They keep talking about this crypto shit. I mean, to each their own. I got a little bit in the crypto, but I don't see there's no smoking gun. I don't see there's no damn light at the end of the tunnel. Anytime, anything that these folks got their tentacles wrapped around, it means no good. I don't give a fuck if it's the regular money or crypto or whatever. If they can find that way to get their hands on it, it's corrupted. It's not going to be for what it was meant to be. They've been talking about trying to move to a digital currency and all this shit. From the Federal Reserve to the Treasury and other places in the country, I mean in the world, they're talking about that shit. So it's like if they're talking about that, then they know what's up with Bitcoin. And automatically, this so-called independent entity that's supposed to be better than currency and not attached to governments and all that other shit, they're trying to implement the same shit. So, you know, you really just gotta let it play out and see how it go, man. But people are losing money. People losing money in the stock market and shit. The stock market's been fucked up ever since the pandemic started. It started to do a little bit better, but then when Ukraine hit and Russia, then it started fucking up. To a point, I don't even put no more money in that shit because a lot of that shit is bullshit anyway. You only get what certain motherfuckers allow you to get or will allow you to get. You see motherfuckers like hedge, and a lot of that stuff I still don't have a proper understanding of. That's why I be looking into this shit. But these motherfuckers who are hedge fund managers and, you know, insider traders and all that shit who do shit, and they know how to do it. They know how the corrupt system works in the stock market. So they know how to keep themselves paid. But the lowly ones on the totem pole who come in and try and utilize this same system and try and do what they can. For some, they may make a little money here or a little money there. Still nothing compared to how motherfuckers have been abusing this system and have gotten over on people. And you may make a little something, but you got motherfuckers over here that done crashed a certain stock, and people who put in and tried to utilize that stock, they out of their shit. People even got their shit hooked up to their 401ks, losing shit. So this shit, I don't understand why people think, and in the Black community, this is something that motherfuckers should be paying attention to on the most. With the most respect, because we always look at ourselves as being the ones who are always on the bottom of the totem pole anyway. We don't get this, we don't get that, we don't get treated this way. But what the fuck is that gonna do if you ain't even paying attention to what the hell going on as far as with the currency, with the financial systems? You know, people gotta be educated on all this shit, man. And then just being real talk, man. But they will sit here, but like I said, they will use different things to distract people, keep people focused away from like you'll hear more about this shooting that just happened in Grand Rapids now, more than you would hear about the dollar collapsing, more than you would hear about them constantly sending money overseas and here and there, while you got people over here just gone. Still waiting on tax return. You know, it's not right, man. It's not right. All this stuff It is what it is. Gonna come out for what it is. It is slowly revealing itself. The veils of deception, the veils of disparage, the veils of untrustworthy institutions, all that shit lifting. All that shit is lifting. And it's not only lifting here, it's lifting in every fucking nation across this planet. People got to understand that your arguments here in this country are similar arguments going on in other places throughout other walks of life, different circumstances, same grievances, same arguments. And the reality of that, there is a hidden shadow group behind all these motherfuckers that claim they're so-called leaders and this, that, and the third. And they want nothing but financial control and everybody else to be fucked up or slowly get fucked up. So, you know, I don't know, man. They do it. They hold on. Wrong one. They do this shit, man, and it's like you ain't supposed to see through it. You ain't supposed to ask questions about it. You ain't supposed to conversate about it. Oh, might as well put this up. You know, after that crazy shit happened in New York the other day, you know, they found that supposedly this is the guy who done it. And I think the story, I know I looked into it the other day. The mayor and chief of police are trying to take credit for capturing this guy when it was really somebody else. It was a guy who was at work, young guy. I think it was 18 or 19, somebody who was at work and just happened to phone in a tip or whatever because they could have swore they saw him. This ain't the story here, but it's another story that talks about it. But of course, the mayor and I wonder why they don't say black mayor. It seems like every time it's dealing with black people, black this, black that, which is being used. People don't understand that shit. When you see these articles and you see shit, they just say black this, black that, when it should just really be saying this person, that person. I'm surprised they don't say black mayor Eric Adams. I'm surprised they don't say black suspect. But this is crazy. So this man is supposedly responsible for shooting, injuring all them people, throwing bombs and gas and all type of stuff. Here he is. Fucked up though, the mayor and them trying to ride on somebody else, calling the police, you know, calling authorities about this guy. Sad. What may have been the reason why this guy clocked. Wonder what that was about. I don't know, man. It's just so much that these folks are trying. Was that him? No, that's not him. But so much stuff they keeping out here in this loop of instability and chaos that a motherfucker got to understand that you have to take upon yourself to break the loop yourself. And I just wanted to get on here and share a little bit of that for this morning. Hopefully everything continue to move in a manner of peace for each and every individual. Share, like, debate, dialogue, whatever. Anything that get more awareness out here on what the fuck going on in all communities. I speak on the Black community because I'm from the Black community, but we all have to start looking at this shit. We are human beings. First, our communities second, because everything that's affecting us as a whole, we can't deny it. We cannot deny this shit. People sitting up here, all while motherfuckers playing motherfuckers, man. Fortunate shit. People dying, people getting sick, people losing everything because motherfuckers won't stop for a minute and look here, man. We gotta fuck that, man. Y'all motherfuckers, nah, y'all on some bullshit. We gotta get this shit right. No, ain't nobody about to do shit. Ain't nobody about to do a motherfucking thing till y'all motherfuckers let people know what the fuck going on. And y'all motherfuckers that don't want to do that shit, y'all up out of here. But we do that shit, and then the only thing we got to do that is voting. But this whole shit got to be exposed for what it is. And that's just the reality, man. Black folks got to stop being in denial about it. We got to step up on our shit. White folks got to step up in their shit. Everybody across this planet got to step up in their shit to call this shit out. These folks will not stop until they see everybody fucked up. I'm telling you, they do not give a fuck. These so-called human beings do not give two fucks about people, man. You got some who are genuine, who are really trying to do, and some who have to do what they do in order to maintain what they got at the expense of other people being fucked over, man. That's not fucking right. There's no excuse to justify that shit. If you say you are of God, you are a fucking hypocrite. That's just simple as that. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day. I'm gonna try and find that one article on that police. I'm pretty sure I can find it, but they never know. They probably took it down. This actually happened last year. But with that, I'd like to greet you in the greeting words of universal words of peace as I came. Everyone continue to have a good and blessed day, week. Stay aware. Continue to try and learn and research and find shit and dialogue with people. I mean, a lot of people got to look outside the box. But with that, peace.